up, you guys? Brian Felder here with another episode of The Adventures of an Entrepreneur. Super pumped for our guest today for this episode. But what The Adventures of an Entrepreneur podcast is, it's about people that are thinking about leaving their jobs and starting their own business. Maybe they own their own jobs or they own their own business and they're trying to scale it. Maybe they're an entrepreneur and they're trying to scale multiple businesses. And so what you hear from these episodes are just the successes and challenges and just some nuggets, some tips, some strategies, both good, both not, right? To really understand how to go ahead and really be a successful entrepreneur. And I run a residential real estate team called TVRG Homes here in DC, Maryland, and Virginia, where we help between 120 to 150 families a year buy, sell, invest, and rent in residential real estate. And so over the past 22 years, I have some tips, I have some strategies, I have some challenges, and I have some successes. And so I will tell you the guests today are James and Angela. Welcome.
Hey.
I'm super pumped. So guys, strap it on, get ready, get the helmet on. We are about to go for a ride, you guys. And I will tell you, it's not going to be a pony ride. It's going to be like a roller coaster ride with these two. I absolutely, and I have no idea about this. How'd you guys meet? I have no idea how you guys met. Because you guys are husband and wife. You've been together for 62 years?
155 years.
155.
Right? Yes.
How'd you guys meet?
I don't know this is going to be a family show.
Right? Oh, it's not. I promise you.
We don't have any vodka. There's no martinis. We're going to actually have that conversation. Oh, okay.
Yes, after.
That's good.
Yeah, dude, this is one of these things where we tell people and they're like, you should write a book. Like, you should write a book about this because people don't believe it.
Okay.
But we did actually meet. We worked for the same company 100 years ago. And we went on a club trip. Angela from the US, me, I was still in Europe, and we met at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Maui, Hawaii, at a bar.
At a bar.
You guys working for the same company?
Yes.
Yeah.
Different divisions of the same company.
Yeah, 3Com at the time.
Yeah, and Angela was there with her boyfriend, James, and I was there with my then wife, Angela.
Are you serious?
100% serious.
Really? You don't know the story?
I've never heard this story.
Crazy.
Yeah.
So James and Angela.
Met
Angela
James
brought
and Angela.
James, and James brought Angela?
Yeah. Oh, so
Well, he was really Jim, and she was kind of Angie, but hey, we don't.
yeah, James and I, doesn't matter.
This story's better if it's James and Angela.
Yeah. So we met and we hung out for a little bit of time, and then
We all got along really, really well.
it was great
actually.
fun.
And we stayed
Maybe a
in
little
touch-
bit too well.
No, I don't know.
How long ago was this?
1999.
1990.
Yeah.
A while ago.
And then when did you guys officially say we're getting married? How long you guys been married?
We just celebrated 20 years last year.
20 years
So
last
we got
year.
married in 2004.
We're 2000, so Beth and I are 25 years this year.
Congrats.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
So crazy how
It went by really fast, I have
Oh.
to say. It's coming crazy.
how she puts up with me. I have no idea.
Yeah,
No idea.
I feel the same way.
thing?
Same
Yeah, for
thing.
sure.
Same thing.
So the business you guys are in. So where did you guys? So this is why I want to know a couple of things from you guys because you guys, your stories are really cool, and what you guys bring, the energy, and just your thought process is so good. And I think it's really important, especially on like this kind of podcast where people just have a lot of questions, right? They're inquisitive, like working for someone. I want to go ahead and launch my own business. First, tell us what your business is. What do you guys do? What's your business?
So in a nutshell, it's business coaching and consulting, and we're really focused on like three parts of a business evolution. What we call start, grow, and scale.
Start, grow,
Grow,
and
and scale.
scale.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so each of these business, depending where you are in that evolution, we've all got different challenges, right? For sure, and
100%.
And so we kind of made a decision early on that we were going to focus on that three and create programs for each of those silos. To be fair, and I think Angie agrees, like probably 70% of our business is still in the early stage.
Yeah.
Because honestly, that's where the most fun is, right?
And that's where most businesses struggle, right?
Yeah.
They're just starting out. And it's exactly what we did. We didn't really get into our own business by choice at first.
How did you get into your own business?
Yeah, I mean,
This is-
honestly, corporate.
we got fired.
We got fired. Yeah, and it was a really tough time, right around 2008, 2009.
So you guys-
corporate didn't want us anymore.
Yeah,
we
they're
were
like,
we
get
were married.
out.
We had been married by that time
Yeah.
a number of years, And he got let go, I got let go, and it's the usual, right? What do? You brush up your resume and call some friends.
For sure.
And I'm just going to go back. We were both in sales and marketing, right? So I was a manager, account manager, national account manager for Nextel Sprint at the time. He was leading the sales team. So, yeah, we're like, all right, brush up the resume. But honestly, it was kind of strange. Like, a good friend of my dad's came to us and said, hey, have you ever thought of business ownership? And honestly, I'm not really sure.
No.
Do you think about business ownership? But we're like, what is that? I
So
don't
you
know.
had no entrepreneurial
Nah.
spirit to be like,
God, no.
we're going to launch, we got laid off, we're going to go.
No.
No. Hold on. So this
No.
idea wasn't sparked because you had some burning desire to launch your own business.
God, no.
I did not know this either.
No.
So this was brought on because of your dad's friend?
Yeah.
Said, hey, have you thought about owning your own business?
Well, you got to remember that you know we're both in positions and jobs, Brian.
Yeah,
like we're making high six-figure salaries, right? Why would I want to give that up?
You're right.
Right.
And it's comfortable, it's good, you're living a great life.
Yeah.
Doing really well, but also at that time, we got let go. I got a decent severance. My mom was going through an illness, unfortunately, so I got to spend time with her. I don't know. I just feel like when the time is right, they always tell you.
By the way, you'll know this, right? 2008, 2009. This is when all this happened.
Oh, the Great Recession.
The Great Recession, right?
The mortgage
Absolutely.
prices.
Yeah.
like,
Right.
Yeah.
Everything.
The market was
Just got
crashing.
upside
It was like
everything.
oblivion. Yeah, the whole thing.
What the heck were we
So
thinking?
that's
It was right. It was.
Yeah.
If you didn't lose net worth, it was because you never had net worth in the beginning to lose.
Right.
Like if
Yeah.
you really
Right.
really when it came down
yeah.
to it.
Yeah. Everybody got screwed.
So how did you say, okay, we've never owned a business before. We're gonna be business coaches.
Yeah, so the franchise, so we started looking at different franchises. So business
Franchises.
ownership was all
Okay.
about franchises. So
It was-
we could be owning a mobile dog grooming business right now.
We looked at that. We almost did that.
You know, Stat
Mobile-
Fitness was another one. We didn't want to do brick and mortar, so we didn't want like a Subway or
Yeah.
Yum Yums or whatever those franchises.
Something
are, right?
virtual.
Different.
Something that gives you
virtual.
flexibility.
Something home based.
Home based.
Right.
And
It was
then
very important.
it really accentuated our skill sets, right? Sales and marketing, and so
For sure.
it was
Yeah.
it kind of was a natural fit. So we chose a franchise, a business coaching franchise
And when you
at the time.
so the franchise had all the systems laid out. Like, was it like just do step one, then step two, then step three, or was it like do step one and it was like, okay, we're in step one, but we got to figure this out within step one, and then step two, we got to figure this out, or was it all laid out where you just plug
Yeah, I
and
mean,
play?
like most franchises, right? They've got their system.
For
So
sure.
that's why.
Yeah.
That's why there's a franchise. We actually looked and says, well, if we're going to do this, because we thought about it not doing the franchise, and we're just going to open up our own sales and marketing consultancy company,
Okay.
right? Having no
Experience,
entrepreneurs, but we had skills. We had certain skills,
Absolutely.
And we had passion.
and we had
Right?
passion.
Every business
right?
owner
We're like,
starts with they had their
yeah,
passion.
we got their passion.
Right.
But again, it's one of these things we sort of fell into it, to be truthful. But when we looked at it, like, well, it's going to take a year to kind of get this thing moving, and we thought, well, why don't you just buy a coaching franchise? They've got everything we need.
We had a training program.
Yeah, it was
we knew we were going to be
Marketing
part
material.
of
It
a
had
Oh,
like,
the whole-
like,
yeah, the whole gambit.
100%. You don't know what you don't know, so we figured, hey, worst
sure.
case scenario, what have you. So we got out of that after a number of years. So we joined that. We did. We had some great training. We got some good baseline information.
Networking, I'm sure, was
Yeah.
really good with the.
They told us to join a chamber. I didn't know what a chamber was. I mean, think
We had
about
no
that,
idea.
right?
That-
and now I am
no
like,
idea.
You're on the
Miss
board
Chamber.
of a change. Like, look, yeah.
So I am Miss Chamber. But it just goes to show you, because we came from corporate. So we were used to getting on a plane at Dulles, going to our clients, traveling, wherever. And here we are now being in our community, which
Yeah.
we never really were. So talk about very, very cool
Yeah.
opportunity.
But by the way, and not this is how most people get into business.
Well, this is what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
This is how it happens. There's very few people where this is like the game plan. Right?
Oh.
That's not. It's
Some
It's
disruption,
true.
something happens,
Yeah.
and
Right.
then all of a sudden. So I guarantee, even for some of our listeners and viewers, I guarantee people are like, okay, I'm burned out of my job.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not fulfilled. I'm not passionate about doing this. I can do this in my sleep. What route do I take? Do I go ahead and just launch my own business? Do I go franchise? And it's funny because a lot of the guests that we've had, not a lot have been franchised. So, in your experience, would you say you would have chosen, knowing what you know now, would you recommend going franchise, or would you go ahead and say, no, there's other ways to launch your own business and become an entrepreneur?
It's a great question. I would absolutely say no. Don't buy a franchise.
Don't buy a franchise.
Don't buy a franchise.
It also depends upon the industry, right?
And what type of industry, what type of
professional
franchise?
services.
Correct. I mean, clearly, if you want to open a cleaning business, then there are some really cool and great franchisees,
Yes.
right? That will do that.
Absolutely.
Because generally, you're going to buy that business. You're not the one in there cleaning toilets. Like, you're going to hire people.
For sure.
So that's a different model. Doing the thing, what we're doing, if you're getting into coaching or consulting or that type of thing, which a lot of people coming out of corporate, that's where they end up. They end up in the consulting
Yes.
stream, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've seen it multiple times.
Right. So what we would always say to somebody is like, find someone who's already achieved what you want to get done, and go hire them. One, it's significantly cheaper, right? It's less, cheaper's a bad word. Less expensive.
Well, it's less expensive from an experience standpoint.
Right.
I mean, what we know now, what we took X number of years to freaking figure out was really, really hard. So that was time. That wasn't necessarily, it was cost, money, but it was really more about our time.
Or
Well,
time.
it's funny you say that because running a residential real estate team,
Yeah.
there are better real estate agents on my team than me. Like
sure.
there are better.
Well, that's a
real
given.
estate- That is a given. But you're right. Early on, I was the one grinding. I was
By the
the
way,
one.
we know Brian very well, just in case.
Yeah, you can
Yeah,
say that. I was gonna say you can say that.
Sorry, we love you. You know.
But there's a lot of loves. Okay, so the show's over. It was great. It was awesome having you on. It was great. We're out. We're
This will
gonna go
never
get.
air, so thank
Yeah.
you. For
Yeah,
being here.
it was great. It was awesome. But it is interesting because you're right.
Hey, it's good that you can recognize that other people are better, right?
For
That you have so many other strengths that make you a great team leader. So I digress. Continue.
Thank you. Nice recovery. And you know what? You're staying in the show now. It's good. Okay. But I do think it is interesting, and that is a big nugget. Is you really have to identify if you are looking at franchise versus starting your own business and launching your own without franchise. What are the pros and cons? What franchise is that? What's the support? And are there alternatives that you can look at that will allow you to go ahead and launch your own business, maybe
Yeah.
not go on franchise? And some of us says-
I think a lot of it comes down to just how risk averse you are,
There you go.
right? And what your level of confidence is.
I am totally risk averse, and he's like, "Woohoo! Let's
I'm like,
try
let's
it."
just throw it out there and let's see what happens.
Yeah.
But you've also got to understand that from 2009 to where we are now, like the world has changed completely,
Completely.
for people who want to start a business.
Yes.
I remember went to see Guy Kawasaki. This was years ago, over in Arlington, right? And he was an Apple evangelist, blah blah blah. Wrote some really good books, and he goes, the person that you have to compete against today isn't a big corporation. It's the guy in his mum's basement with a computer whose handle is Lonely Boy 17. I never forgot that statement,
It's true.
right? So you've got kids in their late teens, early 20s who are killing it. I mean, just killing it. It's a very different space now to where it was when we started, and it was one of the reasons that we left the franchise.
Well, and if you look at it even beyond that, look at what's happening here recently with AI and with AI integration and
Oh, yeah.
all. I mean, it is crazy what is happening in the technology world and the tools and resources that businesses and people have now. I think the big dynamic too is and something that has always blown me away about you two is you two are married.
Still,
You two are in the same business.
yep,
You two like each other.
most of the time.
still.
How do you do it? Because I don't see, when I think of James, I think of Angela. When I think of Angela, I think of James.
It's so funny. It's true, right?
it's-
People go James and Angela.
It's
Angela,
like
James.
this symbiotic relationship
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you guys have created, but make it work. And of course, obviously, I would assume that it's not always rosy and there's never ever an argument, there's never
Oh,
any
Brian.
No,
anything.
no.
But my question is,
Why would he say? Why would he say that?
why would you do it? You know what? We are editing that part just so you guys. I'm just kidding. How do you do it? Because there's a lot of people that if they do take that leap, they want to do it with their spouse or their partner or their significant other. And I think it's really hard that when I look at Beth and I, 25 years, if Beth and I we were talking about it the other day, if we worked together, we would not be together.
Right.
The business would not be here.
I hear that all the time.
I'll let you give
Yeah,
your
how-
you give your version of this, then I'll
Yeah,
jump
we
in.
didn't practice this. I will say though, when people say, "Oh my God, you worked with your husband," Like I could never, same, just like what you said. First of all, a lot of people don't know that we are married because I kept my maiden name, right? So Angela Ainzerillo, James Lawson. But every now and then, people could see and they're like, he'll tap me on the butt or something like that. And they're like, oh. It's like, oh, we're married. So, but for us, honestly, I think we recognize our strengths. Like if I had to say like truly how I feel, it's really important to take a certain role in the organization and respect that. And so I know what I'm good at and I know what he is good at. It is difficult. I have to say it is sometimes very difficult because I'm a certain way. I have expectations, I have accountability, and I'm like, dude, you didn't do what you say you were going to do. Oh, right, he's my husband, but it doesn't matter. You're still in the business, and we have to make money and feed the dogs. But like I said, I'm able to turn it off most of the time. It takes me a lot longer. Like James is really good, and for early on, he was able to say, "Hey, we're done." Whereas it's harder for me to shut off. But I think, like I said, if we can really respect each other, strengths and weaknesses, and a lot of times I might just go out. Get out of the house.
Just disconnect.
You have
Give me
to.
a break.
Yeah, you have to. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's one of these situations. It is definitely not for everybody. I think there's a certain disposition. We're incredibly fortunate that we are so not alike, because that helps, right? So I get a lot of accountability from Angela. Like she said, she's like, you were going to never did it. Like, what happened? I'm like, oh crap, right? So now I've got to come up with an excuse. But we know there was two big things. What's the role going to be was one, and setting boundaries.
Yeah.
So as much as we humanly can, so Angela's very relationship orientated, me not so much. All right. So I do all the coaching because I like the business stuff. I like to work with the clients.
And that's a strong skill set.
And that's a really strong
Very
skill
strong.
set for me, right? But that's where I get my jollies. Angela likes to go out and meet people and build relationships and spend that time. So we have this symbiotic relationship whereby she's out there generating the connections and the contacts that then follow up with me that I can then start to work with. So that's all very cool. So that's that. And you've got to get clear in any partnership. Forget husband and wife.
Yeah, any.
But in any partnership, you've got to be really clear about who's doing what, when, and where, and who has the final word, right? Business is not a democracy. It's not a democracy, right? So someone's going to make the final decision, and generally it's Angela.
So the detail, I'm also very detail-oriented. He's very strategic-oriented. So yes, it's really it's clear to understand your boundaries. I'm sure you and your wife could own a business. It would have to.
Yeah, we would put some rules in place and understandings in place.
Yeah.
Is it hard to not talk after hours or work is done? Is it hard not to talk about work?
It's almost impossible.
Yeah.
Just because I know you two, and you guys are always thinking and trying to be better and trying to excel and trying to just be better people, live a more purposeful life, and you guys have done a really good job with that, and also have impact.
Right.
It's in your business name, like impact, right? And I think you guys have done a good job of that. Like even me owning the business, I think about it all the time, and it's not because I'm like, oh, I'm addicted to work. I just love what I do, and like I'm passionate about what I do. So how do you create those boundaries, not just during work, but like, hey, we're going out to whatever, winery, whatever, whatever. We're going out to go have fun.
Yeah, we enjoy as the weather gets warmer, we like to be outside on our deck, and we kind of like look at 4:30, 5 o'clock. Let's we both have certain expectations of what we're going to do. Weekends might be certain things that we also do, clean the house or some sort of goal.
Yeah.
I'd have to say that with us, we both know the end goal that we both want.
That's great. And it's aligned.
And it's, yes, and it has
aligned.
to be.
100%.
It has to
100%.
be. How we get there might be a bit differently. So like I said, having that respect of like, okay, he doesn't process the way I do, and maybe, just does things differently, but we still get to the same, and we both have the same goal and mission.
I think that's important too. Like when you're thinking about launching your own business, or maybe you're an entrepreneur right now, and maybe you've had a lot of success, or maybe you're going through challenges right now, having that end goal or that vision, or what is the outcome I'm trying to accomplish, and knowing that it's not going to be just a straight arrow or a straight line, it's going to be a little bumpy, is really important. But you guys have done such a good job of creating balance between you two. You play off of one another, which is really good, and you both have strengths and weaknesses that really cancel out one another?
There's another really important aspect to all of this, Brian, and it comes down to this. So we started our business 2009. It's now 2025. We've went 6 months where we never had a business coach. In all of that time, we have always had a coach. The whole time. Different coaches, because as our business evolved and we had different strengths and we looked at weaknesses, we'd go find someone who was really good at that thing that we couldn't do, and we would go and hire them. So when you look at that time span, you can't be successful on a silo. You can't do it on your own. I don't care what anyone says. So you got to find people around that are better than you, who know more than you do, and you got to bring them into your ecosystem. And so for us, we've always been good at education. We've always wanted to be educated, except when I was at school, and that was a whole different conversation. Got kicked out. But for us, for the business side, it's like, this is too important to play at. Like, you got to get help.
Yourself.
You got to get the help.
Well, and it's interesting because you guys are coaches, you are consultants, you guys run a coaching company, and you guys get coached
all the time, consistently.
Absolutely.
So there's a nugget right there. Like, if you're running your own business, if you are not getting coached, or you don't have a mentor or some kind of, like, for me, I went through a lot of different coaches as well, from team coaching for the real estate team to individual coaching to executive coaching. Now I have a board of directors that I literally lean into, and I can literally reach out to any one of those 7 people and be like, this is what I'm struggling with. This is where I need. Hey, you're an expert in this. How can you help me?
Right.
And it is interesting. I got to ask, what do you guys do for fun? What's fun?
What do we do for fun?
We've got 2 great dogs that we love.
Yeah.
To take for walks and out. I mean, we
love to
our
travel.
pooches.
I mean, travel's
And then,
huge for us.
when we're home, when we're not home, we do love to travel.
You guys also
Which
like
kind?
making cocktails.
We do.
You guys definitely like your cocktails.
But that's boundary time, Brian.
That is boundary time.
Right.
It's transition time.
Right. So when you
like-
when you talk about, like, is it hard to not talk about business? We're always kind of talking about business. There's a very different vibe when you're in an office talking about it
for sure.
versus sitting on the deck with your fire going and having a martini in your hand.
For sure.
It's really sad. Like, I'll be up because we have 2 separate offices. He's in the loft, and I'm in one of the guest bed, right?
Smart.
So separate offices. And then I'll be up there. It might be like 4 o'clock, 4:35, whatever time. And all of a sudden, I hear the ice machine, and I was like, like a dog.
It's like Pavlov's dog.
I'm like,
Oh, we're done. Laptop's over.
Laptop
We're
over.
done. Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's interesting. You know, from travel, you guys, like I said, I've been so impressed. You've helped me in so many ways in my own businesses, where you can just drop these nuggets and be like, hey, think about it like this. Or, hey, Brian, you know, who do you want to meet? Or you're always trying to give back. You're always trying to grow. You're always trying to impact. But yeah, you also have good balance and you have fun. And it's interesting because even when you guys are stressed, you don't show it. Like, even when there are challenges, you don't show it. And so, like, I feel like you guys have really positioned yourself in the marketplace, and I think this is really key, as a unique coaching pair with your consulting company that really stands out, that when I drop your name to someone, they're like, I've heard of them.
nice.
I've really, like,
That's good.
You got good street cred, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's really important as you're building your brand and you're building your business. We all have to know, like, what makes us unique, and then what will help you separate yourself from other people. I think that's really, really important. If you were going to give advice, to someone thinking about leaving, working for someone else, what would be one piece of advice that you each would give? You first.
Absolutely. I would definitely say to get help. Like, don't think you can do it on your own. It's really, really important to understand who you serve and what you serve.
That's
it can
great.
be passionate about what you do, but it's really important to know what you do well and who you best serve.
That's great.
Yeah.
James.
Whatever you're going to do, you got to have fun doing it. Life is too short, right? And if there's one thing that we have learned in doing this, and it's great that you see all these really nice things, we look at the problems and challenges that we have. These are first world problems. We're not homeless. I'm not living in a car. I'm not hungry. Yeah, we have challenges in the business, but compared to what's happening in the rest of the world, this is a breeze. This is a fun time, right? So I'd always say, like, if you're going to move into something, a business, work for yourself, find something that you truly enjoy. And don't just do something because it sounds like it's convenient or it's easier to do. Because that will eventually that'll erode, and you're not going to have fun.
And running a business is anything but easy.
And it's not easy.
Being an entrepreneur is anything but easy. But if you love what you do and you're passionate and you see the vision,
Yeah.
you have goals set, and you're committed to that, it is more than rewarding than anything I've ever done, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And I do believe in the whole get help, not just because that's what we do and helping people, but you can't do it on your own. You just really, really can't. You know,
can't.
again, you've got blind spots. So every time we've gotten help has always accelerated kind of our growth. So
If
anyway.
if someone wanted to get a hold of you and ask some questions, how would they get a hold of you guys?
Absolutely.
They could easily just drop an email, right, to either Angela and I, jlawson at impactbizllc.com, or ainzerillo at
So you can scroll it up on
impactbizllc.com.
the screen or something
gonna
like
be
that.
scrolling. We're
Give us an
definitely-
You
email.
just drop an email, we get in contact, we book a call, we do a Zoom call, we do a kind of 15, 20 minute, let's kind of do a deep dive into what your challenge is. And again, we're all about get help. It doesn't necessarily need to be us, but get somebody.
It's great.
Get somebody, because this is too hard to do on your own. It's
You
way
guys
too
are
hard.
so awesome. I could talk to you all day.
You're
Like I
sweet.
really could.
You're really sweet.
But
Thank
in
you.
closing, you two are some of my favorite people. And you know
Thank
that.
you.
And we meet so often, and we always meet for lunch. We never meet for martinis. So maybe the next time we meet for martinis, and I can close my laptop at 4:30 and maybe come over.
I like it.
It's the way to do it.
You guys are awesome. Thank you.
Thank
so
you, Brian.
much. You
It's been a
guys
blast.
are amazing.
It was great
Thanks,
being
you guys.
here.
Go.
Thanks so much, bro.